See the red
here's
button?
the thing.
Yep, start over. I didn't know.
I like to start recording, and then if there's fun stuff like this that works, I'll use it. But if it doesn't work, I won't use it.
You've listened to the
Not
Levitard
really
show before.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
It's that.
Does he ever mention that show to you?
She listens to it.
I listen to it
sometimes with me.
too.
It's good, right?
Yes.
They have really good content, and just like I like it. He had told me about it when we were doing sports. Because there's all the quirkiness, and I'm like the quirkiest person you ever meet. So I was like, yes, I'm all for this.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Like the costumes.
Yep.
We had so much fun for Halloween. I think we brought a lot of joy upstairs. When we came up, people were not expecting that.
No.
They were like, what is happening? I was like, hello, it's Halloween.
It's
our Halloween episode.
They did a really good one last week. One of the guys on the show, his brother came in and they did a body swap with him to see if Greg Cody, the old guy, would recognize that there was someone else in that chair.
Oh.
And the whole
Do they look alike?
Very. Like they're similar, but you can tell that if you know what's going on, you can tell there's a difference. And I had been spoiled to it because I saw something on their Instagram before I listened to the show the next day. I'm always like a day or two behind the show. The entire episode, they're starting to drop hints that there's something going on with that person who's dressed in costume to look like George Harrison from the Beatles. Yeah. And he's acting as George Harrison from the Beatles. Yeah. And then at the end of the show, they tell Greg Cody that it's not Jeremy Taché, it's his brother. And Greg Cody acts like it's not a big deal. Like they didn't just get him the entire time. And, and they were so mad at him for not like going, oh crap, or anything like that.
That's funny.
So that was, that's their latest costume gag that I was listening to.
I'd love to do like an April Fool's Day something. Mm-hmm. On today's episode, I'm joined by a true sports media power couple, Jake and Mallory Merda Adams. Jake has spent nearly 12 years covering everything from high school rivalries to national storylines, with stops at the Carlisle Sentinel, Madison.com, and the Louisville Courier Journal. A Temple grad and Northampton native, he's built a career on curiosity, hustle, and a deep love of the games that bring communities together. Jake is the sports editor here at the Butler Eagle since the summer of 2024. His wife, Mallory, grew up just south of Pittsburgh, where early work trips to pro games with her dad sparked a lifelong passion for sports. Today, she's a sports editor and sports content coach with USA Today. And when she's not shaping stories across the country, she's collecting Sailor Moon and Pokémon. Because every journalist deserves a little magic. They've been together for a decade, married for 1 year, and today, we're digging into the realities, joys, and chaos of building two careers in sports journalism under the same roof. You know, I have no clue what, but something. I feel like something has to, every year I'm like, I want to do something for April Fool's. Are you guys into April Fool's stuff?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, not really. I mean, never really was into that stuff.
When we were in school, people did things like as a kid, but, and maybe I did.
Maybe now that we're adults, it's not so much.
Yeah.
There's
I'm 45. I'm like, I want to do something for April Fool's.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not against it. I've just never done anything about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I have to say it's late because your 1 year wedding anniversary was in October. Mm-hmm. But happy
Thank you.
Anniversary first year, and you got married and you did a Halloween theme.
We did.
Kind of, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that because I loved that. I thought that was such a cool idea.
Well, to start, I think I wanted to have the actual wedding on October 31st.
Oh, we're going to start here.
We couldn't do that because Jake's brother was born that day. So he didn't want, I said it didn't matter, but he didn't want two things happening on the same day.
And, I honestly had to think a little bit about what if in 20 years we get divorced and now that's the same day as my brother's birthday. I just don't want that.
The fact that you say that, I'm like, I want to smack him. I want to reach over the table and smack him.
Yeah.
But okay, all right.
Yeah.
I said any other day in October. Any other day.
Okay,
because I knew it was going to be October no matter what. I've known this since we dated for almost 10 years before we got engaged.
Yeah, it was almost 10.
So we had talked about it for a long time. I knew what was coming.
I mean, yeah, you hung in. Good for you.
Yeah.
I think we also would have had even fewer people at our wedding if we had gotten married on Thursday last year.
Yeah. So we got married on the anniversary of the movie Halloween.
The first one.
So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Because there was no Friday the 13th last year.
No.
So we couldn't do that, which would have been her other dream scenario. So
Yeah.
she realized that October 25th was a Friday and the anniversary of the original Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So
I love that.
We had, at one point, we had all of our groomspeople take a photo with different horror movie villain character masks on. So we had, my brother's name is Jason. He was Jason. We had Freddy Krueger. We had the Scream mask. And I forget Ghostface. And I forget the fourth one.
It was one of the little extras from Nightmare Before Christmas. Some random mess that we found in like Michael's.
I think I know. Yeah, I think I know.
It was a round faced, like almost not skull shaped, but pale white dude that was like almost a cherub kind of dude.
Yeah.
That's fun.
No name that I can think of.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Did guests dress up? I can't remember if you guys asked.
No.
You didn't think people
And we
would?
didn't have anyone that actually did come dressed up.
Okay.
Like there were a couple of people that said they would.
Yeah, we had an uncle or two who threatened to go as Fester Adams and also Darth Vader.
I would have been like, do it.
Yeah,
Do
that's
it.
what we said. We said don't do it during the ceremony.
Yeah, that was
Do it
right.
during,
Can you imagine?
Everything.
It could have been a very Muppet.
change.
It could have been a very like Muppet shot, though. You know,
Yeah.
At the end of the Muppet movie, whenever they, Kermit and Piggy finally get married, and they're all like in the thing, but technically they're Muppets. I'm like, that'd be kind of a cool shot if everybody was in costumes.
Yeah.
The closest thing to that we did was my cousin, and I know we've told the story on the sports pod before, but my cousin was Ken from the Barbie movie, and he was our surprise guest right before right during the processional. He interrupts the processional.
Ken. Yeah,
that's right.
Our flower Ken.
There were only 4 people who knew. It was the 2 of us, our coordinator, and my brother, who we told the day before because we needed to make sure someone would let him in the door in case the coordinator was preoccupied handling coordinator stuff. So parents didn't know. His own family, his wife knew too. So 6 people told, I guess, because him and his wife. None of my family knew. Most of my family didn't figure it out until he was already like well down the aisle, which was even better because you just see their faces in the photos and it's great. My dad doesn't even remember some of it, even though my cousin specifically blows a kiss with the little plastic spider rings into his face.
Oh my gosh.
And I just find that hilarious too.
That's
but
great.
It's all Game of Thrones music leading up to that.
Even better.
Cuts off into I'm Just Ken.
Yes.
About a minute 30 of that, which he choreographs with another one of my cousins.
Yep.
And then it goes right back to another Game of Thrones song that you picked. The which one was it? Khaleesi.
Yeah.
So it's like very jarring wedding, and we had to convince some people like what we were doing is like this is not going to be a traditional wedding, but just let it play out. This is going to be fun.
Yeah,
and
just have fun.
Everyone afterwards has been like, this was a blast. Like we were still at Thanksgiving, we were still getting compliments about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Good for you. Well, today I'm diving into the world of sports journalism with 2 people who live it every single day, both separately and together, which is why I wanted you to come in here. So we have Jake Merda Adams, our sports editor here at the Butler Eagle, and his wife, Mallory Merda Adams, who also works in sports media, bringing a unique perspective. I can't talk. Who also works in sports media. So bring a unique perspective as a couple whose life is intertwined with deadlines, game nights, high school rivalries, and fast-moving world of modern sports coverage. So we're talking about how they got into sports journalism, what keeps them passionate in a changing media landscape, and what it's like balancing marriage, career, and community storytelling. Jake and Mallory, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. We did it. We made it.
Yes.
Oh, I almost had to change today. And Mallory's like, I'm putting my makeup on my face right now. And I was like, I know what that means. If you have days where you don't have to fully get ready, it's kind of nice not to have to do that. Like if I work from home, I'm like, I went one whole day working from home and I was up early. And then I went to rehearsal and I got to rehearsal. I was like, I don't think I brushed my teeth. I was like, oh no, I think I forgot.
Yeah,
and I'm usually pretty neurotic about that. I'm like a flosser. Anyways, I digress.
Can I tell her one specific story about makeup and you that I know I've told this before, but sometimes it embarrasses you, sometimes it doesn't.
I can't even think of which one it is. So.
Well, we're going to find out, I guess, see if I have to edit it out.
It took 3 months before I saw her without makeup.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that
like
was the thing.
3 whole months.
Yeah.
But like as a woman, sometimes you feel that.
Sure. But I'm just like,
I don't know.
I didn't think much of it like I just didn't. And then the first time I saw her without makeup, I was like, oh, just
because it's very jarring and very different because I'm either full makeup or no makeup. There is no in between. I don't do the no makeup look. That's not a thing for me. But
you're like full 100% or nothing.
100, yeah.
Got
exactly.
it. Yeah. I've had that before with my glasses. I didn't always wear glasses. It's just, but I wear them a lot. And I was dating this guy, and one day I was talking to him, and I forget what we were getting ready to do, and we met up, and I didn't have my glass on my face. And immediately, same thing. He's like, whoa. He's like, I've never seen you without your glasses. Yeah. And I never thought about it. So it's interesting when that happens.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go right into like what got you both pulled towards sports journalism, because I know, Mallory, for you originally wanted to go into be an athletic trainer.
Yes.
So talk about that. I want to start with you first, and then how you got into the sports journalism.
Yeah, so I was always more of wanting to be in the medical field. So I was like, how do I mix sports with medicine?
Broken bones.
So yes, exactly. Broken bones on court. That's perfect. So I went into it with that in mind. Went into freshman year. Organic chemistry threw me off, and I was like, nope, I'm good.
Throws me
doing
off
something else. So I went into sports media then, where I kind of wanted to do the sideline thing where I'd be behind the glass at a hockey game, because that's all I wanted to cover was hockey, nothing else. And then it kind of like, after I graduated, I couldn't find anything because it was very hard to find a job even back in 2016, 2015?
2015.
And
you graduated 2014, but then
graduated
we hired you
2014 and then got hired in 2015. So there you can see how hard it was. And then I went straight into being a journalist. I started as a reporter and worked my way up all the way to now being an editor.
That's cool. And when you started as a reporter, were you doing sports?
I was.
You were always okay.
Yep.
Okay. This is me. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe someone just started in regular.
Yeah.
And then Jake, I mean, you went to Pitt, right?
Yes.
And then Jake, you just always wanted to do sports journalism. Yes.
I decided on it going into my senior year of high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and that's like the year that you've got to start figuring out where you want to go to college. And that summer at some point, I realized like I enjoyed talking about sports with family and friends, and people get paid to do that. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do that. A lot of people in my life, family and whatnot, thought that I should have gone into like math or engineering because I was gifted at math, just aced everything.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm a problem solver, more or less, and I went into something like English was my worst class in high school, and by worst class, like I was basically a straight A student throughout high school, but I could get like B's in English, which I know sounds like I'm bragging, but that's bad for me. And yeah, I was like, well, I want to be a sports reporter. I had no idea what that took. There was no one in my family or my friends group that had ever gone into that path, anything in journalism at all. So I was flying blind the whole time, went to Temple because it had a good journalism program, was in Philly, which was a perk for me. I wanted to get out of like rural Pennsylvania and go somewhere else. It had a lot of opportunities, I figured, for internships and other stuff down the line because there was the Philly Inquirer and Daily News, there's TV stations. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to talk about sports, and I figured it out along the way. And like 6 months after I graduated high school in 2013, I got hired at the Carlisle Sentinel to be a sports reporter there. I was promoted to sports editor a little over a year later when my boss who hired me left for another job. And it's kind of been, it's been rocky since then at different points, which I'm sure we'll get into, but it just kind of started from there.
When you two first met, you were working together. Mm-hmm. Yes. Is that when you were her boss?
Kind of, sort of. So
yeah, you were kind of still a reporter at that point.
So I had been promoted to sport. It's very weird. I'll try to do the short version. I had been promoted to sports editor, and then 4 months later, they were demoting me not because of performance, but because there was a company-wide restructuring, and they were cutting down the number of editors and shifting people around. So they had one of the news editors become the sports editor, and I became the assistant sports editor, and we had a hole to fill as the third person on the sports staff, third full-time person, which ended up being Mallory. That was going while we were trying to hire her. or the position that would become her, it was the transition when I was going from sports editor to assistant sports editor, and the news editor was becoming our sports editor. So I was in charge of the hiring process. He had the final say ultimately, but I did all of the legwork into it. We interviewed all the candidates together. And so you came in at the very end of March. And then at the end of May, early June, I was re-promoted to sports editor because the managing editor left, and the guy who was now the sports editor was promoted to managing editor. So he was basically managing sports editor for all of a month and a half. And when he asked me to go back to the sports editor position, which had been a little bit rocky beforehand just because there were some issues before that were out of my control, we told him, like, we were dating at that point, and we had just kind of started dating. And so we said, this is early enough that we can stop, but also we kind of don't want to, obviously. So
we're leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, does this work? And
Yeah.
I knew this going in. He had hired a woman who eventually became his wife, and they've been married for 20 years
So
with
you're
2
like,
kids.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, basically
Yeah.
the thing he
Like-
said is like, that's fine. Thank you for telling me. The rule is don't bring home to work and don't bring work home. And if you guys go through anything, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Be adults. And we're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
We definitely brought home to work a lot of times, but
Which is
nothing
really
serious.
hard not to do.
Well, yeah, that was kind of what we talked about that when we had that phone conversation, just sort of prepping for this, is when you were her boss, and before you told me that you
and
had
it was
been
for
her boss.
6.5 years. I
Yeah.
was her boss. Yeah.
And, there are times where you're like frustrated with someone who's like late on deadlines, or you're not seeing eye to eye on something. How do you come home and you do want to decompress and be able to discuss those things? Because oftentimes it just helps you get it out, but also maybe work through something with someone who, knows you on a different level.
Yeah.
But when you were her boss, it's like, how you guys made it through all that.
Yeah. That ended up not being like the toughest stuff we went through, but
No.
I know you and I have talked about it before. You didn't feel as much frustration as I could feel in those moments, like driving home. So we drove home a lot together because the office was 10
why would
minutes
I
away.
bring?
Yeah.
Well, it was only we brought 2 cars when I had to go.
One of
cover
us had a
or
game. Yeah.
something.
So
Yeah.
we would do
That
that.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 to 4 times a week we would drive in together, or
Yeah.
maybe 2 to 3, because usually you had to work a night that I didn't, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So half the week we would drive to and from work together, and I would feel it a lot more where coming home from work and she hadn't done something that I had expected, or just that was the reality of it. I mean, she's an employee of mine that is not doing her job in a particular moment. It's not like this happened 5 times a day, but it happened enough where you'd sit there and go, you're just kind of angry, and the person you want to
Deep
tell
sigh.
is the person that's in the car that caused the problems. So I don't know, it caused fights. Yeah. I mean, there's no getting around
but
that.
I also think it was because he's definitely a type A personality. I'm a type B personality where I just let things go most of the time.
And I had such a high standard, and I was developing so much too, that sometimes I didn't manage things correctly at 25 through 29 years old. But other times I was trying to set standards and I knew what I was doing, or at least thought I knew what I was doing. And I felt like you, the person that's supposed to be my right hand woman, is not helping
And
me
my
do that.
woman.
Yeah.
Well, I
At the
can't call it
same
right hand
time.
man.
No, I know, but yes, I see. Sorry, continue.
So it definitely caused tension, but it never.
There's
never anything
bad.
serious,
Yeah.
seriously serious. It was a lot of just get your.
You guys didn't go to the office and blow up at each other.
No.
No, you were,
And it made it a lot easier on her that the office, we didn't tell anyone right away. It wasn't their business, but people learned, or we would tell them over time.
They figured it out. Yeah.
And it helped her a lot that universally the newsroom was on Mallory's side. Universally. So every time
That's
there was
kinda cool.
Yeah.
when we were arguing about whatever dumb thing we were arguing about, no matter what it was, it was they were side. And when I say
Always.
those office arguments were sports arguments or pop culture, nothing
Yes.
relationship arguments. They would always side with her, even if they disagreed.
It was always the Philly versus Pittsburgh thing.
That was
And
one.
even in the middle of the state, it's
Best sports, best food, just anything in those music, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
They always sided with you.
Yeah.
We did talk to you a little bit about how sports isn't emotional, because when you're following a team, what I've learned from journalism is there's a story out there. They get the story, they write a story about it. Maybe there's some sort of follow up at some point, but for most of the part, it comes out and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But for sports, you're following players, you're following teams and all of that. What is a moment or story that stuck with each of you throughout the years from sports, from covering sports?
I'm going to say it was the soccer player she was a girl soccer player. She was one of the best in the middle of the state, in the state, period.
Remember her name? Julia Rach. Yeah.
Calling you out on the podcast.
She went to Penn State.
She went to Penn State, and it was during COVID. It was during lockdown. It was when everything...
The fall,
yeah, it was when everything was still kind of... We're not coming fully back, but...
We're trying to creep back in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was her senior year, and she decided that she was going to not play most of the season because her sister...
Well, we didn't know this.
We actually didn't know this.
And they just kept saying she's not available.
Yeah. And so I just reached out to her mom because we had a repertoire at that point. And I kind of asked her, I was like, why isn't she playing? Like, we're not getting anything from the coaches. So, and she was like, oh, she's not playing because of her sister. And her sister was really susceptible to COVID and contracting, anything that could happen.
Was she on the autism spectrum? No, she was something else.
She was something else.
But she had maybe immunocompromised also?
Yeah.
Yes. It was definitely that. And she hadn't played for most of the season. And
they were close.
Yeah. And it was also at that time where it was really, controversial, where people would be like, COVID is doing this and this to people. Mm-hmm. And like, we don't want to get involved with it. And it was just kind of one of those stories where I was like, this needs to be told. Because it's always like we have the stories of the athletes and the kids that want to come back, and they're like, oh, we're going to fight to come back. And then you have
just tearing their ACL and coming back from injury, those standard things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then this was like, well, I'm not going to play because I'm going to protect my sister. And I was like, that's actually a story, like I said, that needs to be told because you don't hear that a lot.
Well, and why did you get the story though, too? Because Penn Live never got it, and they covered them too. Do you know? It's an overarching reason why, not the specific reason why. Do you remember why?
Well, I mean, I had built up a relationship with
you covered it from her freshman year, and they knew you.
Yeah,
that makes such a difference.
Yeah, and it was just I reached out to her mom, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she told me everything that was going on, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Do you mind if we write a story about that?" Mm-hmm. And they agreed to it.
What was the feedback from that story? Like when it got out there,
we didn't get a lot of feedback on it. I mean, we got mostly
another one
positive.
We got feedback on.
Yeah, mostly positive feedback on that one because I mean, you usually hear more of the positive feedback than you do negative. But
I don't think negative feedback is ever bad because it means people are paying attention, and especially if they really have an opinion, it's like, well, you're paying attention, you're reading, you're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's such a slippery slope. There was, we had Mason Martin. Did that happen right when you?
That was the fall before I started. Yeah.
That was the fall before you started. That was a big one. Drew Griffith, which was on a whole different level, right? He was just this kid that was just. He had started running. He didn't even run that long. He'd been a swimmer for a long time.
I think he started middle school.
It's just interesting. And I had met his parents too because I went up to I ran track and Cyber wanted me to come up and do video stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I have time to do that for you, but I'll come up and see if I can get some footage for you and send it to you. And I did meet him and I met his parents. And it's interesting, like, a lot of times how you have these players who are so talented, but they're so humble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you do really hope that they continue that on. Do you know where she is at now? Like, did you say she went to Penn State?
Yeah.
She went to Penn State. Mm-hmm. I'm not entirely sure what she's doing now just because
she would be be graduating or close to it by now because it was 2021 when she graduated high school.
Okay. Yeah. And that was her senior year.
Yep.
Yeah. That's rare with a young person, especially to have that. But that also is a testament to their home life. You know, that's, and that's not saying that other families aren't doing that, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes kids don't have that where they have to deal with something like that in their families. Mm-hmm. You know, someone who is dealing with whether it's an illness or whatever it might be. So for both of you, what does light you up most about doing sports journalism?
I just like sports.
Yeah, it's
That's what it
sports,
is.
but it's also the kids, like the
Yeah.
athletes. I always love covering the athletes in general. Like it was never about anything but them.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's-
they love to have their stories told.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Most of them. Yeah.
And the,
Yeah,
and the
most of
parents. Yeah. And I think parents love it too.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see their kids like thriving.
It's also,
Yes.
I never wanted to be in a 9-to-5 job. And I've done that thankfully for only like 6 months of my adult life.
Same. I'm like
I-
all over the place.
Even though like sometimes this can be chaotic and sometimes there's really long hours or really late days or anything like that, I'd rather this than just clock in, clock out and feel like the other thing too is, and this doesn't, the print side of it doesn't matter to me as much anymore, but there's still like a physical side to this. Like there's a tangible feeling of accomplishment every single day, whether my byline's there or it's someone else's byline in the newsroom. Every day we've produced a product of some sort, whether it's digitally only or it's video or it's in print.
Yeah.
Like my parents in their jobs, my mom she isn't on a production line of any sort. My dad is kind of, but he'll work on a product that'll take years to see the light of day, if it even does, because it's got to get through testing and everything too. Me, every single day I produce something, and every single day there is a chance for feedback, good or bad. And I like that rush. There's some days where it's a little too much or some days where it is slower than others, but I like that.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I did want to talk to you guys is I think there's a lot of misconception just in journalism in general. And I've learned that since working here, and how people will perceive like when they read something, and it's going through so many channels, right? You're telling your story to someone who's taking notes or recording, and then they're interpreting that into a story based off of how they think it should be put out there. And also, are they reading it out loud? Like when we read things, like obviously I'm used to speaking, right? So when I read something, I read it to say it out loud, and how are people interpreting it by hearing it?
Yeah.
So it's a little different. But what do you think there are the top misconceptions about sports journalism like today, or that you've dealt with over your careers?
I'll let you start with that.
Oh, thanks.
I like how you both looked at each other.
It's like,
Because it's there's differences, because what sports journalists could face at a major metro in Pittsburgh, Philly, whatever, covering the Eagles, the Steelers, the Detroit Tigers, whatever, is totally different from what we will face or what college reporters will face writing for their student newspaper. So not all takeaways will apply at every level.
Yeah.
For us, it's this is actually kind of funny. It's not even like a serious one. It's people don't realize that we work nights. Like that is a real thing that happens. I got a call once. This was in Carlisle. Mallory knows the story.
oh yeah.
This dad, and I won't say what sport or school or anything. This dad called at like 9 o'clock in the morning, complaining about something that we did or didn't do, and calls again at like 11:30 now, and leaves another voicemail saying like, now he's like, well, now you're not answering my calls, and now he's even more mad.
And you're like, I work till 2 or something.
So
you
I get into the office at 2:30, and I listen to these voicemails. I always check the voicemails first. Listen to the voicemails, and then as I'm about to call him, he calls again.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And he starts like giving me the business about how like we're not answering the phones and we're ignoring him and blah 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 and we're this and that. And I'm like, one of the first things I said to him is, "Sir, what time are games in high school sports?" He goes, "Well, usually 4 o'clock." This was an afternoon sport. He's like, "Usually around 4 o'clock." I was like, "Okay, when do you think we start working?" And he's like, "Oh, I never thought about that." And I was like, "Yeah, we work nights. That's why I didn't answer your phone call."
Yeah.
And then as soon as that, like, I was a little bit smart with him because he was being smart with me. But as soon as that like happened,
He made an assumption though.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like, this is very light. I've dealt with far worse situations, but this is one of those things like people don't know that we work nights, and we also do the same thing. Like we are contacting ADs and coaches at all hours of the day and week. It's part of the job, unfortunately. Like I can't be working at 9 o'clock in the
Same,
morning.
like on Sunday
there,
when I'm getting
Yeah.
like who the guest is, I'm like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever time it is.
and like we don't have. Some reporters are luckier where they can kind of compartmentalize a little bit more. These are my 8 hours,
Yes.
every day
Yeah.
for whatever 5 days a week I'm working. Especially as a sports editor, that doesn't happen
exist.
as often.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There are times
Yeah.
where it
Yeah.
does, but there are other times where like, I'm texting you, Laura, about guest stuff, or I'm texting you about the show, and we're trying not to bug each other too much, or I'm texting Brendan and Derek or whatever reporters about this, that, or the other. And I try to be as cognizant as I can of their time and their schedules, and I have told them some like guidelines and whatnot, but that's getting into the weeds.
Yeah, well, and that goes into my next question, which is, how has the pressure to do more with less changed the way you approach storytelling? So, for instance, you only have so much time in the day, and something comes up out of nowhere, and you're like, well, I'm not going to be into the office till this time, but I've got to get this done, and then can I reach out to this person? And I mean, for us, especially, with the sports podcast, there's 3 of you, and everyone's like, oh, who's all on it? I'm like, the 3 sports writers, like our editor and our 2 sports writers, that they're all we have, which I know that's why that was such a hard thing for upstairs when I'm like, we're doing this year round, not just football season. Otherwise, it seems pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems pointless, and we're missing all of these people who are going to feel alienated, and you get that anyway.
And a lot of our best episodes have been out of football season in the year and a
Yeah.
half we've done this.
Yeah, and adding guests. I mean, that was one thing I remember. That was a huge pushback, and I'm like, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Like we have to have guests on. It doesn't have to be every week.
Yeah.
But we got to start doing that because that's part of this. Hearing the coaches, the players, and who knows, even parents one day. Who knows who we'll have on?
Yeah.
But
Ray the cat's mom.
Ray
Like,
the
you had
cat's
to-
mom.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very strange one in a good way.
That is insane. I'm still baffled by that whole thing. I met that cat too. He came in here.
Nice.
I met him, and I was just like, he's so chill. And I was like, dude, what were you doing up there?
I wish our cat was that
105 miles.
Yeah.
105 miles.
On the
He was
roof of a
He was
car.
on the roof.
Insane.
He was on the roof.
Yeah.
To answer your question, like,
Well, there's 2 parts to the question
Okay.
because I started that one, but also like, how do you handle burnout or the constant season feeling? Because I think that's a huge. I mean,
So-
what, you maybe have a couple weeks in the summer where,
yeah.
Yeah.
or do you
I
not
mean,
feel that way?
It's weird because I feel like football season more than anything gives me burnout.
I was going to
Like
say,
it feels like it goes on forever.
and you're going through this too. I've been in this kind of role since I was 24.
Yeah.
So like I've been a sports editor who writes a lot for 10 years. You are
Yeah.
just starting as an editor now. So now you get to see, like, you went 8 years
well,
of being a
I
reporter.
was kind of the assistant editor
Yeah.
back in Carlisle, but that wasn't like
Yeah, you didn't call the
as-
shots for long
it
term.
wasn't
You called
as
them, like,
editor heavy as
Yeah,
it is
okay.
now.
So like, yeah,
but
you're learning all this stuff that I've adapted to now. So what's
Now,
this like?
yes.
You just exited your first football season. What is that kind of like for you? As
It's
an
kind
editor.
of like it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like it feels like it goes on forever, and I still have one team going into Saturday now in the final, so they're still going into December during basketball season.
Whoa.
So, and this is in Ohio, and
That's right, because you have multiple
yeah, mostly in Ohio, one in Pennsylvania.
that you
and it-
manage.
Yeah, and it's just it felt like it went on forever, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I'm not gonna say
not
that,
at all. But that's a real thing.
yeah, it's always that, and then I feel like I'll go through basketball season, it'll feel the same way. But I mean, it is really rewarding at the end of all of it because I mean, some of my reporters put out like some of the best stories that I've seen. So
There's 2 different. You asked about. I'll answer the like decreasing resources.
You know, the
We've dealt
pressure
with
to
this.
do more
That's-
with less.
yeah.
you know,
We've
how
dealt
you
with this in
approach
Carlisle.
storytelling.
So when she
Yeah.
first started and when I first started, there were 5 people on our sports staff. It was sports editor, 2 full-time reporters, and 2 part-time clerks.
yes,
By the time we both left Carlisle, it was down to her and I over 8 years.
Wow.
We lost we lost one clerk.
One
then
clerk.
we had a sports reporter who we're good friends with,
Yep.
who left for another job and they never filled his position. And then they they laid off the last clerk
yes,
in COVID, in fall COVID.
Yep.
And I remember telling my boss then, and I warned him when we hired this guy, because the guy that we hired was phenomenal, like for a sports clerk, best in the country. I would I would put him up against anyone.
Yeah.
Could do the work of like 3 people easily. Great dude. Knew him from bowling. Awesome guy.
Yep.
I told my boss, because we had already gone through 1 round of layoffs before we even hired this guy. It's like the day that he's gone, sports coverage changes forever. It will never be the same. And so that happened. And I told my boss, I told you this, however many years ago this was, it's over. What we've done now, or what we have done, is done.
Yeah.
It will never be done again. And we had an argument about this for a little bit about how we could try to make up some of the ground and whatnot. I was like, no, it's done. And so what you do is when you lose resources, what you have to do is prioritize what is the most important stuff that you do.
Yeah.
So in that situation, we lost the ability to do box scores and daily scores and standings. He handled all that stuff by himself, basically. We had to stop that because it was more important for Mallory and I to produce good content that people were reading.
Yeah.
Less people read our daily standings and agate than they did the feature stories and the enterprise stuff and the coaching hirings and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's how we do this. That's kind of some stuff that I'll bring to the table periodically is looking at the metrics that we have and going, this stuff doesn't perform well compared to these other things. Mm-hmm. Why are we doing this? Mm-hmm. Like the analogy that I use is if you're a department store and you sell 1-inch, 2-inch, and 3-inch nails, and no one buys the 2-inch nails, but you keep stocking up on all 3 of them at the same rate every month, all you're doing is creating a stockpile in the back of the 2-inch nails that no one's buying, and you're costing yourself money. Yeah. So you got to focus on everyone's buying the 1 and 3-inch nails, buy more of those, make more of those, so that way you can sell that to the people who want them. That's the adjustment that it takes. I'm not saying that it's easy. No, there's a lot of difficulty with it, especially when it's your friends that are going.
Yeah.
But you prioritize, the stuff that we do best and is most read is this, and the stuff that is least received and least read is over here. You cut that stuff to make more time, or make sure you keep the time for this other stuff that is more important. Mm-hmm. The burnout and season question is actually 2 different questions to me, because the season stuff to me is what actually makes this easy, because every 3 months we're doing something else. Yeah, there's a transition period that's tough because you have the playoffs going on and you're starting to ramp up for the next season.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Refreshing and looking forward to people that are moving up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're going to be seniors or whatever it might be.
But that's what makes it all manageable. Is every 3 months I'm doing something new. Going back to what I was saying earlier is I don't want a 9-to-5 job. Well, it's also seasonal. I'm doing different stuff every 3 to 4 months. Yeah. So you figure out a rhythm over time of what those 3-month cycles look like, and that becomes a little bit quote unquote boring, but it's still every 3 months things change. Every 3 months I'm into a new season, new sports, etc., and that's so much easier to deal with than I think just the same old 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
I mean, you like I said, you've been married for a year, but would you say the example that you just gave, would you say that was a big time for you when you helped navigate a real challenge? The
layoffs?
Yeah. Or is there a different time in your relationship where you navigated we're being married and understanding what you're both doing? Because we talked about this a little bit too. You understand the schedule, right? If he's got to work late or you have to work late. Yeah. Sometimes that can be really... That can be taxing on a relationship if one person
still texts
doesn't.
me wanting me to come home as early as possible.
Of course. Of course. Especially if she's
I'm
off.
also done before him.
Yeah, and you don't have to drive anywhere. You work from home.
Yeah.
So I guess that does
the layoff stuff. We were to wrap that bow. We weren't prepared for that moment, but we knew it was coming one day. Yeah. So when it happened, I couldn't tell her immediately. I did. Wasn't supposed to.
Spoiler.
The statute of limitations is expired. My boss is no longer at Carlisle, neither am I. So nothing's gonna happen to me. Yeah. But we just kind of said, okay, this is it was on me to figure out how we were gonna adjust some stuff. Mm-hmm. She was going through some eye issues for going on 9 months at that point. So you were more focused on that and just could you work each day?
Yeah.
When health issues pop up. Yeah.
We were just kind of we'll figure this out. That didn't, it sucked more that we lost the ability to do some stuff with the sports coverage that we had really enjoyed doing. And we were losing, more importantly, we were losing a friend of ours. Yeah. We still saw him for as long as we were still in Carlisle, but I had to call him after he was laid off. I didn't have to, but I called him after he was laid off, and he and I were both we knew this was coming one day, but it still sucks. But anyway, the stuff that was tougher was us moving out of Carlisle. Those 2.5 years.
It was that
way worse.
That whole thing, moving into a different state
twice.
where I didn't want to go at all.
Twice.
Like, I never wanted to move out of Pittsburgh. I never wanted to move out of Pennsylvania. I never wanted to move out of the Northeast. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like moving to a state where you don't want to go is, I think, harder than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Especially when it's people that were not
Yeah.
looking out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a whole thing. Yeah.
Which,
That's hard. And you're in this relationship.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're like, when's he giving me a ring?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But hey, listen, as women, we tend to get to a point where we're like, okay, I'm good. Let's, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I commend you guys for going through all of those moments together, because I do think that, and I'm joking about that, really, the 10-year thing. I'm not, making you feel bad. I oftentimes
I got it
think
worse from other people. Don't worry.
Well,
Yeah, it was family mostly.
Some people just assume like you should know at a certain point it's or get off the pot, right?
Yeah.
I haven't always believed in that. Sometimes it does feel like, hey, there's other things that I want to feel really secure in, because I don't know what it's like to be a dude and, feel like you're the provider and you're the man. And even though you do seem similar to me in a sense that you're like, oh, I can take care of myself, I can get things done.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird. Like, if we're going to go down that boat, I thought it was weird that it was always like the man was supposed to be a provider. I'm
thank
like,
you.
I make my own money. I can do what I want with that. Like, I don't know.
It's like I want you in my life, but like I
Yeah.
don't need you.
Yeah.
There's sort of that, sorry, Jake's sitting here like, what is happening right now? But no,
I have
it's-
conflicting thoughts
I
here.
do
Yeah.
think we
She
are.
knows.
I do think we are similar in that sense. But there are moments, I'm sure, where she does that you're there, and she's grateful that you're there, and she appreciates, and she does rely on you.
Yeah.
But if it came down to it, she'd probably get it done if she'd get it
There's
done.
the
Yeah.
I think she'd get it
the
done.
way this manifests with us is like, the love languages thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So tell me, let's just go there. You brought it up, Jake.
like,
you brought it up. What's yours? What's hers?
I'll say like the love language, and we're not into astrology, but we have a friend who has pointed out the fact that I'm a fire sign and she is an air sign.
Wait, what are your
So-
signs?
Aries.
I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra and
Yeah,
you're
air
Aries,
sign.
you
Yeah.
said? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down.
And
I'm weird about this stuff.
he has taken great joy in watching how the two of us interact. He's probably seen us more than almost anyone else. And he's
it's
like,
a fan the flame situation.
we fan, like, especially
Oh.
she fanning my flames.
I just like to keep it going. Just
Yeah.
like let's keep going. Let's
So,
see how
like-
far this can go.
we contrast a lot.
Yes.
So like,
Okay.
Yes.
you're talking about like her appreciating me being there and stuff like that, but she can take care of it herself on her own.
Yeah.
That's not communicated well in our relationship, and that can go both ways. I'm not going
Wait,
to make it.
communication's a problem?
Oh,
Between a man and a
Between
woman?
someone that has a communications
yeah,
degree,
we're two people that
yes.
are in communications. Yeah, like I'm more of a acts of kindness person.
Okay.
Yeah,
or
I'm a
like-
gift giver.
Yeah, you are very much a gift giver.
Yeah.
She shows her appreciation by getting me a ton of stuff over Christmas or my birthday, and I would just like her to like clean the dishes or like take the garbage outside, like walk the dog, that stuff. The little things that help make my life a little bit easier, I like more than
Yeah.
how many items did I get for Christmas.
That's funny.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so like we have to navigate that a lot, where there are so many times where we just start fighting, but it's because we are on very different wavelengths.
Yeah. Well, it does say that you have a high potential for compatibility due to being opposite signs that are drawn to each other.
Yeah, there are
That's what I
days.
keep reading. I mean,
So
There are
Aries
days.
fire fueling Libra's air through challenges arise from their different approaches to conflict and decision making. I do think that opposites attract.
yeah.
There's also times where opposites want to
Good-
make you
yeah,
throw
good
each other off a bridge
Yeah.
or into moving traffic.
Yeah.
Whoa, Jake.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not,
No,
she feels
I feel the same way. So
We
Yeah.
just spent a
You're like,
week
"Get
at
out of my
home.
face."
I've been off for the past week, and yesterday I made the comment to her like 2 or 3 times, like, "You're just being snippy with me." And I'm like, "What is going on?" And she goes,
I don't
think
know.
I think we've just been around each other too much,"
Too
which
much.
is ironic because we literally for 8 years worked and lived together.
yeah.
And now like we just lived together for a couple extra days, and she's like, "I think I need you gone."
She's like, you need to go somewhere and do something.
because it's like the whole thing where I have the whole house to myself and the cats with me, and like that's.
And I wasn't
yeah.
even bothering her. I wasn't even in her face with stuff. I was doing
Nope.
my own thing. We put up a Christmas tree. That was it.
Yeah,
Well, you got it done, though. Yeah?
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys do a real tree or do you have a...
A fig
We-
tree.
Yeah.
We did a real tree.
Yeah, same.
That is another fight.
Interesting. So what's the fight?
I can't with
I
the real
like a real
trees.
tree. But right now, the apartment that we have, it's not conducive.
The thing about real trees is like, obviously I love the scent. I love all of that. But yeah, the pine needles are really insane with a real tree. But also it's like, I just killed this tree. I'm one of those people that I'm like, I just killed this tree.
I look at it as like,
I wish I could get a tree that's like, is still like in a pot or something.
Fair.
And every year, and once it gets so big, then I plant outside and then do the next one. Like someday down the road, when I have a house I have a house, but I haven't planted anything, anyways, I'm going off a tangent, but who's more competitive?
Me.
Him.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, sports wise, like,
everything.
Are you okay?
Everything.
Well, you're in a bowling league, right?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he is.
He is. Do you play too?
No.
No.
I know how to bowl though.
Yeah. Do you like bowling?
I like it. I mean, my friends and I used to do it all the time when we were like kids. So
I told her I'd go into a less competitive league if she ever wanted to join, because the leagues that I'm in are generally a little bit above her. Like what she would need to practice to get to that point.
Yeah.
That invitation will always be open.
I see. Mm-hmm. Okay. I see. And do you think, in what ways does that show up in your jobs, being like competitive and non-competitive? Do you think it shows up in your jobs? I mean,
we were talking earlier about how like we would come home from work and one of us would be irritated with the other.
And the other one just let it go.
Usually it was me.
You would be irritated with her?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
And just like, why is this a big deal?
That's how it is. Yeah.
You're like, dude, you need to let it go.
Yeah, just calm down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you have to I think you should share with everyone about the cakes that you made, Mallory, for her birthday.
There you go.
Because you made cakes, didn't you? Or you were telling us.
I've made several over the years. I've made several over the years,
Okay.
It hasn't been every year because
that's
some stuff.
Something comes
sometimes
up,
we just didn't do it. Sometimes we were somewhere else.
Yeah.
Last year with the wedding, we were already getting a cake, so didn't feel like having a third or a second plus wedding cookies.
Yeah.
No, my mom made cakes for my brother and I growing up. Like, she didn't buy anything from the store. And they were just little hand designed ones. Mm-hmm. My mom would admit, and like, and mine too, like, they're nothing fancy. We're both really good at taking like an image we see and then just copying that to the best of our ability. We don't create anything new. And like, it's a very simple, just like drop.
It's just a sheet cake, right? And you're just on the drop icing.
I'm not doing
but
like
still,
really
it's like the thought that counts. Like So I don't know anything about the stuff that you're into that he was designing, but tell me about what was it again? What were the designs?
The last one?
The first one was I don't even remember what the first one was off the top of my head. Pikachu. It
was Pikachu.
Okay.
I did a Dia de Muertos one. Mm-hmm. The best one.
Dia de los Muertos.
It could be either.
I'm sorry.
I was like, what is that?
I'm sorry.
The best one I've done is the baby Grogu in a pumpkin. That's the best one I've done, because that one actually was me getting a little bit out of like looking at an image. And then I've done Gengar and Pumpkaboo, another Pokemon one. Okay. And then
Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas.
With like, I think that was
on Cupcakes. That was when we got engaged.
I think that was the day that we got engaged, but she didn't know it at that. Well, you knew by the time you saw the cake, you knew, because we got engaged that.
So so talk about that, because I need to know how the engagement happened now that we're like going off on this cake thing.
Yeah.
We were in Louisville, and it was the summer.
I know, you're both like Louisville.
No, we will absolutely not.
It would never be Louisville.
He did that when he first came in here. I'm like, Louisville. He's like, I'm not saying it like that. And
I'm a Yankee. I'm a
got
Yankee.
It. Well, I am too. I'm just being goofy, but
I don't think anybody
I was proud
in
of my
Pittsburgh
outsider
says it that way.
Yeah, I was proud of my outsider status in Louisville.
Yeah.
So it was the summer. It was our first and only summer there, and I was like 3 or 4 months into being the interim sports editor, which was starting to wear on me by that point. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, there was just like a moment where we had now moved to Wisconsin, left Wisconsin for Louisville, and we thought things were kind of getting back under control, and we were going to very quickly find out it wasn't. It was going to actually get worse. But I don't know, for some reason that moment I had felt like the things I was looking for from her and from our relationship had finally started to like settle in, and it just felt like the right time. So got the ring and had to ask for a Saturday off, which is difficult because there's college football and we had 2 college football teams in Louisville.
Yep.
With UK and the Cardinals, but one of them was on a bye that week, the weekend of your birthday, and we didn't have a ton of money, so we couldn't do anything like lavish or anything like that. And we also weren't like the public display of like marriage people. We didn't have much to do, and we didn't have much to do with, and we didn't really want to do anything in public.
Yeah.
So her parents were coming in, and I just told them ahead of time, like, hey, I didn't really like ask for their permission. We'd been dating for 9-10 years.
Forever.
Like, hey, we're doing
probably
this.
like, it's about time.
Yeah, that was kind of the reaction. So
I'm about to kick you out, man.
we were going out to dinner, and I just convinced you to go out to the front patio and take a photo with your mom, because your mom had done this stuff before we go out for a nice night together. She had asked to take some photos, and they weren't going to see us. We didn't know if we were going to see them for Christmas yet or not.
Okay.
Well, they actually told me that they wanted photos for my aunt. They wanted to send photos of the house and us to my aunt. So that's how that whole thing started.
Did you believe that? I mean,
I do, because they live in Georgia, so...
You didn't know. You had no idea it was coming.
Yeah.
Because you thought it was going to be a couple months later when we went to Universal Studios in Florida.
That's when I thought it would have been.
We were thinking
like
of
the
going at that point. We hadn't like picked it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just proposed on the front patio while her mom was taking photos, and that was like quick, simple, easy. We went to dinner that night. We went to a jack-o'-lantern festival at a local park, which was really cool.
Cool. Yeah. I've never gone to one of those.
And they were all hand-carved pumpkins, and like apparently they do thousands throughout like a week and a half or 2 week stretch, because they have to replace them as they rot.
Yeah.
But the funniest part of that was I ordered the ring. I had gone for several months online through a company that my brother had recommended, and get the ring. It arrives like 3 days before, because of the rush with me trying to figure out work and like being slow to respond to emails.
You also had to send it to your work.
Yeah, I had to send it to work. So it had to
be dropped off at his work.
So that way you wouldn't see, because you were home all the time.
Yep.
And
gets delivered. You're like, what is this?
Yeah, I open everything. So
like
you're like,
I have it for all like 72 hours. The morning of, I wake up and I'm like, I need to check the size of the ring. Something like just had this.
The ring size.
The ring size.
Yeah,
so
that's a thing.
I go and
because we want to be able to wear it.
I get it out of its hiding spot, and I put it on, because her ring finger is my pinky finger basically. Okay. So I put it on my pinky finger, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't fit.
Like it wouldn't go on, it wouldn't go on.
Nope.
So I'm like, okay, this is a problem. So I check the paperwork. It says, it's 2 sizes too small. And I look at the email to make sure, did I send this wrong, or did they get it wrong? And I had sent it right. It had been done wrong. And so I'm just like, well, it's too late now. So I go out to her parents. She's still sleeping. I go out to her parents, like, well, we're going to have a fun one today. And I tell them what happened. And they're just like, okay, we'll just make it work. Thankfully, I didn't think you would lose your mind over it, but I was a little bit worried, like, okay, what are you going to react? I don't even remember what
you said when you got down on one knee,
I just,
with you, so.
Well, I asked you to marry me, and then I also said, by the way, this is going to fit on your pinky.
Yeah.
So I put.
But it's not my fault.
So like our actual engagement photos, it's like her hand
on
is
my
here on my chest,
finger.
and it's on her pinky.
Yeah.
Like that's all.
Yeah.
Well,
it's. And whatever at that point. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, so we went to dinner and stuff, and her dad's telling like the waiter and stuff that we just got engaged, and they're like, oh, let me see the ring, and she's showing it on her pinky finger, and she has to explain like, yeah, it was apparently sized wrong. She took it pretty well. It was funny.
Yeah.
She tried to briefly like
That's
fit
cute.
it on her ring finger, but it just didn't work. So we got it refitted.
Was he showing you the email? He's like, I swear, I sent it right.
You did at some point.
Yeah,
but
you believed me right away.
Yeah, I believed it.
And then we were like laughing about it later, because we're going through the like we have to return it and tell them like, hey, we need to resize this.
Yeah.
So I showed her the emails, like, look, I actually had this.
Yes.
I had it right, and then they sent the wrong size.
Yeah. And it was also a good thing that we didn't schedule any photographer for that day, because then we would have had all those photos with it on your pinky.
Yes.
Instead, we scheduled it for like a month later to get like celebratory engagement photos.
Once it was actually on the ring finger. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you both dream of working on a project together someday? Have you ever thought about anything like that?
I mean, we
did
a whole bunch of projects in Carlisle.
There was one earlier that she was asking about feedback. Do you want to tell her that story?
Which one was that?
The project that we did that we got the most feedback on.
Oh, the sports and makeup.
Yeah.
Project that we did.
You gotta tell her this one.
So I decided, Because you see all the college basketball players, and now you see a lot more sports do this, but it's like you see the makeup, and they're doing like the lashes, and the hair is really nice, and like all the stuff, and I'm just like, I wonder if high school girls like wear makeup when they're out there, because sometimes you can't tell, and you're not looking close enough. But we kind of came up with that project to kind of see, you know, who does makeup, and does it make you feel confident? Does it make you kind of, you know, play better when you're out there because of that confidence? And we did all this. It was all voluntary. Voluntary.
The background work that went into it is we reached out to a bunch of the girls' teams, not everyone, but a bunch of the girls' teams, me and her, and said, this is what we're planning to do. Yeah. Like, we sent out poll questions to every team that would like volunteer for it, basically, which was most of them. We only got like one that was like, we just don't feel comfortable with this. Yeah. There was a couple where we had to talk to on the phone, a couple where we had to like talk to them in person.
There were a couple of coaches that were kind of like, you know, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like that,
but we had also been around for, this was our last year, final 18 months or whatever. So like everyone knew us by this point. Yeah. Like we weren't pulling any stunts on anyone. Who's these random people showing up. But we got permission from the coaches, and we sent out the poll. We talked to some of the coaches about their opinions on stuff and did stories with them. And then in the poll question, we one of the questions we asked was, would you be willing to come in and take photos of you with your like game face and with your like everyday face? Yeah. And whatever look that might be. And then we'd ask you some more questions and stuff like that. And I think we got 7 or 8 respondents, something around that.
I think it was about 8. Yeah. And then we would like split screen the photos, so you could drag like the thing, so you could see the makeup and the no makeup.
And the project was called Game Face. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I kind of like how we just shifted into that, considering what we were talking about in the beginning, how he hadn't seen you without makeup on your face, and how it does, for some people, it does make a difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes like getting ready, that's part of getting ready, or just feeling something about yourself, especially as a woman. Sometimes I know lashes are a big thing. I used to do the lash extensions, and then I'm like, I have to stop doing this. Yeah. Because I'm going to have no lashes. If I, they're going to be gluing them onto my actual eyelid. But yeah, there is something about it, like having your eyebrows filled in. And all the
things. That's what we thought. Yeah. And then I got the one email from this, I'm going to guess, older woman. And she was berating me for why didn't we have...
Not me, her.
Yeah, why didn't we have anyone with short hair? Why was everyone that came in long hair? I was a misogynist. I was all this stuff.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
I was just like, you do realize this is all voluntary, right?
And these are the people that volunteered.
It says on almost every story that we put out in this project, this was volunteers only. Yeah. This wasn't anything else.
You weren't trying to push anyone to do this. No. You wanted people to feel really comfortable and like be totally transparent.
For one of the soccer girls, I think it was I think she played basketball. Her dad came in because he was kind of like excited about this idea, and she was one that had a little bit more glam for her game face. It wasn't a ton, but some of the girl, like we had girls that did both like glam looks, and then day to day they were non-glam, or they might do vice versa, where like their game face was pretty plain, and then their in school look, they did makeup, they did lashes, whatever. Yeah. And then we had some people where it was kind of like almost the same look, and that was part of like, okay, so why is it that you like doing this? Yeah. And the one girl came in, and her dad actually came into the studio with us, or the office with us, and
we had a dad and a mom.
Yeah, and they were just
there was a swimmer like, whose mom came in. She was excited about it too.
Yeah, they were chill with it.
I love that. I think that's such an interesting project because it's real. It's as an athlete, you tend to have, whether it's socks that you wear or the certain way. Like when I taught at Soul Cycle, I went through a period where I was always wearing a trucker hat, and I would usually start with my hair up in it, because the girl that did my hair would get so mad at me, because then I'd end up taking my hair down, and my hair's long, and I'd have my hair down, and I'd be like head whipping and stuff, and I'd have this like permanent dreadlock back here, and I'd be like, she's gonna be so mad at me. We're just gonna have to shave this or something, because I just have this like dreadlock back here. But I don't know. It was just part of what I did. And I liked having lashes when I taught Soul, because then at least I felt something. I don't know. Yeah. I don't. And also it's my face and it's their face. Like you can do whatever you want with your face. Like if it makes you feel good about yourself, do it, Yeah. I think I was just thinking too, like I could see and again, we did talk about 5 years, 10 years down the road, and you're both like, probably what we're doing right now, I don't know. And I think we're definitely living in that sort of society right now, where right now it's kind of hard to be like, what am I doing 5 years from now? It's like, I'm just grateful I have a job and I'm doing something I love, and we're just going to keep focusing on that. But if there was something that you both maybe dreamed about doing someday, like a big project or something, what would it be? Do you have anything in mind? It could be in your current
story I've wanted to tell for years is the growing cost of club and youth sports and the demands that athletes are put under. And I did a little bit of this over the summer, talking to a couple coaches a little bit, but it requires like an in-depth level of reporting that would take a lot of time. And I'm not always sure like how much time I'm going to have to do that, because like this, the thing that I hate the most about modern sports culture, especially at the non-pro and college level, is how much of a business it's become. And it's people making businesses to profit off of players. And I'm not going to sit here and say that athletes shouldn't be one sport athletes, or should be. I mean, I do like to see, for the most part, kids play multiple sports, or at least casually in two, and like focus on one the most. But like, that's not my biggest battle. And if there was one that I have, it's that we put them through so much, and these things are so expensive. I mean, like, there are kids in Butler County who can throw 93-mile-an-hour fastballs, which 5 years ago when I was in Carlisle, there was one kid who could throw 91. And it's places like Perfect Game, which is this giant nationwide company that runs all these baseball tournaments and functions and everything like that, has become this multi-million, if not billion-dollar corporation that preys on like ranking athletes from like 12 on up. And these rankings are so influential on how these kids get recruited and potentially what they're going to look like going into the pros, if they are good enough to get to the pros. And it's all about throwing as hard as possible, hitting as hard as possible. And like, I'm not sitting there going, back in my day, you know, kids just went out and played, you know, street ball and whatever else and didn't worry about this stuff. I do think that this is kind of an eventuality, but I think it's gone way too far. And it's really tough to watch and hear some of these stories that are out there, whether it's local or somewhere else in the country, of just these kids that they're 12 months a year all the time with this stuff. And some of it goes well. Some of them are very lucky to get through the system relatively unscathed emotionally and physically, but not many are. Yeah. And not enough are, at least. You know, there's casualties in sports, quote unquote. You know, kids get injured, kids, you know, fail out or can't continue at some point. But it's too much right now. And I like sports because there's a winner and a loser. I'm not this participation trophy person, even though I'm part of that generation, which was not my fault. I did not ask for it at 4 years old. But yeah, we've made it too vicarious, the way that the rest of the world lives through a 13-year-old child. And it's kind of gross. And I've had some interactions with that are not pretty. And I've also just seen some stuff where you hear parents make some ridiculous comments at games that it's just, you know, my parents would never dare say something like that. They were more worried about me being the one saying it. I think an athlete and a coach saying stuff to an ump is one thing. They're on the field of play.
They're in the arena. Yeah. They're doing
it's obviously within limits too, but like, they can chirp back like that was a ball, you know, blue, like whatever. That stuff's fine. Yeah. It's different when it's a parent that has their skin in the game should just be, did their kid escape the game healthy, and did they have a good time and do well? That should be the majority of the care here. And I've texted my mom at least once early on saying, like, you guys were a decent foundation for what to do and not do as a parent, but one of the best things I've learned is what not to do because of watching some of the parents that I've seen.
Yeah. So just a couple more, and then I have really rapid fire, and we're going to wrap it up. What is one thing you wish you both knew when you first started?
How tough this business would get.
Yeah. And also it's not as easy to get into as you would think.
And it's getting harder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think young reporters misunderstand most about the job?
That there's just going to be an abundance of them.
I think too, living off of a budget. It's one of the things that saved me early on, but we don't teach. and I'm not going to get on this pedestal about like we don't teach financial literacy in schools or whatnot, but these entry level journalism jobs, not even just sports journalism, but journalism jobs, pay badly compared to a lot of other industries. And this economy is teetering right now, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But even when we entered, it wasn't great pay. And I had thousands of dollars of student loans, which I was thankful enough to get out of pretty quick and et cetera. I had some luck on my side, but there are people who don't. And even in my situation, the luck was not it. I couldn't go to Cancun and to, travel the world. We need like kids coming out of college need to learn how to budget. They need to learn how to budget their finances as quickly as possible because it will make it easier to know how to manage the day-to-day stuff, make sure you have enough food on the table and can pay student loans, but also can maybe save a little bit to go on like a mini vacation, whatever you can afford. And also maybe hopefully be able to put some away into a 401k or IRA or whatever. These are lessons that like are not taught in school, and understandably so. A journalism class is not there to teach you financial literacy, but like these kids coming out of school, most of them are better trained than Mallory and I were when we came out of school. But they like that's something that people need to know.
And how can someone stand out in sports media today?
Work hard.
Work hard, but also kind of go with the trends that are happening right now, like especially with TikTok. I know we had a conversation before we started the podcast about, TikTok is the popular platform right now. And you need to kind of be on there. You need to stand out on that platform too. And it's very hard to do that.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. And it's constant. Whether it's a trending song or a video or whatever, you have to constantly be creating content. Yes. And keep people engaged. And I think responding to people as well on social media is a huge thing. And that's a full-time job. Okay. Rapid fire. Favorite sport to cover?
Hockey.
Basketball.
Most memorable coach quote. Sorry, if you don't have one, we can always.
I don't. Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't either. I think someone just said no. And then I was like, is that your quote? And they're like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't remember any specific.
Best press box snack.
Cumberland Valley used to have Applebee's and then later Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Oh,
in the press for football.
They did that. They did that sometimes at wrestling too. So
that's cool.
Okay. Now we're talking high school level. I've been to I've covered Power 4, Big 10 football where like we're getting brisket at some places and bratwurst. But like the high school level, Cumberland Valley easily.
Yeah. Okay.
Easily.
Athlete you'd love to interview but haven't yet. And you could go beyond high school.
Any level?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I mean, this is just favorite athlete. Favorite athlete to me is Brian Dawkins. Eagles former safety, now Hall of Famer.
Yeah. He's a former athlete now, but I would say Fleury just because he just seems like the nicest person.
Okay. Yeah. And if both of you could play a sport really, really well yourself, what would it be?
Baseball.
Hockey.
Nice. That's it. That's all I have. Is there anything else you guys want to share? It was just I don't know. We just had a conversation about a bunch of stuff.
Follow your dreams. Which is what Mac Miller used to say.
Since when are you the gushy type? No, I don't. I mean, there's a million things we could go into, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is fun.
We can lead with follow your dreams.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
That is the most anti-Mallory statement I've ever heard.
It's very not me, yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
I don't know
funny.
where that came from.
It's the essence of the room.
You want it?
I don't know. Maybe it's just
I
the
don't know.
essence
It's
in
like
here.
the whole like athlete
She wanted
thing.
to,
I want to go to Disney World.
She wanted to pretend murder someone at our wedding. She wanted like.
He turned it into a murder mystery.
Well, that was Christine's idea.
Yeah.
That you wanted to run with, which
Yeah.
admittedly was a good one.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
A couple of our wedding portraits are her carrying a knife behind her back.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
I remember seeing those. He was all excited to show us those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those are the good ones.
They were funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our wedding photos are definitely better than a lot of people's, I think.
I think so. Right.
I didn't want the boring wedding photos where it's just like, oh, we love each other and this is a nice day. I'm like, I want photos where people are going to go, what did you do on that day?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
It was great.
What was happening at this wedding exactly?
Yeah.
It's great.
That looks like a Michael Myers knife.
We interrupted our first dance to Renegade.
Yep.
That was choreographed. We went
We
out.
had one of our friends.
He danced to Renegade?
No. We interrupted our
was-
first dance.
Yeah, we had
got it.
one of our friends like drunkenly yell, "Play Renegade!"
Exactly.
Like right
Oh,
at
so
the
you
end of our
planned
first
it.
dance
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It was supposed to be at a certain point, which we failed to actually communicate with him, like the right point to do it.
He did not know when to do it.
Then when he actually yelled it after us staring at him for 15 seconds, the power cut out, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
So we had to do the whole part of it again.
Because they tried to do the same light thing that the Steelers do.
The strobe lighting effect, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the power went
They
out
had
when
something
tried
plugged
to do
into the
that.
wrong spot and it blew the circuit
Yep.
breaker.
Oh, and the power went out.
Yep.
That's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah,
great.
it was. Yeah.
Did it make like a poof sound?
No,
No, it just went
just
out.
went out.
It went dark.
Yep. Went dark and the DJ booth went quiet.
Yep.
And the coordinator was like apologizing profusely to
You
us. And
see
I was
the
like,
coordinator
no, this is
come
funny.
running from a corner, just like.
Oh, that's funny.
We have so many. We have so many stories from our wedding that were funny
Yeah.
compared to like other people's who I've heard. Like this was this, this was that. Like it was funny. Our entire wedding was funny.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you both. I appreciate you coming in here, taking time. and
Absolutely.
There's good stuff. Sometimes people are like, we just talked about a bunch of random things, and we did, but I love that. So thank
Good
you.
with it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Woo. All right. Huge thanks to Jake and Mallory for joining me and giving us a real look into life inside sports media. Their partnership, their work, and their perspective are such a gift to this industry. Thank you for tuning in to Alter Eagle. Join me every Wednesday for a new episode. And be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, stay hopeful, stay kind.